Welcome, welcome, everybody that made it tonight. Blessings to you. Thank you so much for your interest in moving into in higher elevation. So we'll begin with Ifakaya Day sharing.
Ashay, Alafia, everyone. Welcome. Happy New Year. Um, as you said, this is the yearly interpretation, the 2025 reading, the interpretation of it, going over the main points, the overview. The reading was performed, well, I divined, I casted the reading, but it was the interpretation and everything came as a collective effort from myself, Iabasa, and Baba Ifa Juitan. And the write-up was also produced by Baba Ifajui Tan. So we'll go over today together live the interpretation to add more to it, more understanding to it, more insight to it. That is we're able to share in this dynamic in this group setting. Now, if you haven't had a chance to to go over the PDF that was emailed out already of the reading, I would highly recommend that you do that because it's very detailed. You'll find a lot of good information in there, a lot of insight regarding the nature of the primary Odu, supporting Odus, the Orisha that we're working with, just an overall understanding of it. So you can combine what we do tonight as the live interpretation with the PDF that was written for it, and this will be uh, your guide, your support throughout the year. So we have a very interesting reading this year. I'm going to pull up just to pull up a image here so we have it in front of us, the Odu, so we have a visual as we go over it. The primary Odu this year, revealed by Ifa, is the Odu Obara Ed. Obara on the right leg and Ed on the left leg. So we'll talk about this Odu. We'll also talk about the other supporting Odus, the Ire, the EB, as well as the subsets and supporting Orisha. But just a quick snapshot, we have the primary Odu Obari D, the Ire, Owanrin, Irosu. The EB was Oshomina, Oshe Ogbe. And then I'll go over also the subsets once we get there. So we have a lot to unpack, a lot to uncover here, and we all have maybe a unique perspective, something to offer, maybe some inspiration that's coming in connection to the Odus that were revealed. So anyone on the call, any initiates that feel or have that inspiration, please don't hesitate to raise your hand and to share your insights as well. And we may have others here who maybe the reading is already speaking to. Maybe the reading has already been showing up in your life. Although we divined the reading just last month, and we are interpreting it now, and it's specific to this year, which just started, 2 days ago. This reading, really, the energy of the reading itself started to come in. I mean, the energy of the new year starts to overlap with the current year sometime around October. So we may have already been feeling some of the influences of the yearly casting creeping in and kind of showing its face as we approached the end of 2024. So you may already have some experiences in connection to the Odu itself, which may allow you to share, to give some insights and to share your experience so far. Again, don't hesitate to do so because everybody benefits from your experience. We benefit from each other. We're here to support each other in our understanding of this Odu. Although it is a general Odu for the community for the entire year, there are some general indications, but how this Odu shows up will be unique to each and every one of us. Okay, so Obara Ed for me is not the same as Obara Ed for you. Obara Ed will speak uniquely to your life situation. We all have, although we share this common Odu being a part of this community, we all have other energies interacting with us. We all have a certain makeup. We all have a certain blueprint that very much shifts the expression of this Odu for us. Okay, so how it shows up for you will be unique, will be different. And each and every one of us has an opportunity to discover other nuances of this Odu. You see, your life experience gives you the ability to understand Obara ED in a way that someone else would not be able to understand because they haven't lived that experience. So no one can live our life for us, and therefore nobody can understand or interact with an Odu in the way that we can. So let's never disregard the importance of our unique contribution here in regards to the meaning of the Odus, because they all speak specifically to us. Okay, so we have the Odu Obara ED, Obara on the right leg, ED on the left leg. Looking at the Odu from the perspective of the elements, we have the air element connected to the Odu Obara on the everyday temporal side, the external, dealing with the external reality. We also have the earth element connected with the Odu ED on the left leg, dealing with the emotional, spiritual side, the internal world. So this combination of elements, air and earth, suggests that we live a balanced approach this year, that we take a balanced approach to our life. The air element points in the direction of the unseen. It points in the direction of that which is not tangible, not physical. It points in the direction of the unseen dimensions of our being. Being specific, the Ori. So we're talking here about the soul, that part of ourself that exists, that part of ourselves that is always present, that is always there, but yet it is unseen. We can't point to it, we can't grasp it, we can't hold it. There is no form to it, but it is indeed there. Just like the air element is unseen, but yet it's always around, it sustains our existence here on the physical plane, it is there. So we have the air element. This is about us having spiritual aspirations this year. This is about us having aspirations to connect with the unseen, to uncover, to discover the unseen, the unknown within ourselves, within our lives. This encourages to have an integration, spiritual integration this coming year. Doing that while at the same time having our feet on the ground. This is the earth element connected to the Odu ED. So it's about a balanced approach between the spiritual and material aspects of our existence, a unitary vision between the spiritual world and the material world, a state in which we maintain our spiritual aspirations, we maintain a strong spiritual practice, or we maintain a connection with that unseen dimension of being while keeping our feet firmly on the ground, while staying grounded, while staying integrated within the material world. So it's a state of having our head in the clouds and feet on the ground simultaneously. Not emphasizing the spiritual at the expense of the material integration, and not emphasizing the material integration at the expense of the spiritual integration. They both are equally important this year. And it's interesting how it manifests, because although the air element points in the direction of the unseen, right? It's manifesting through Obara, which is on the right leg. The right leg deals with the external world, you see. So we have the spiritual dimension highly tied to our everyday temporal world, everyday temporal experience. Then we have the earth element, which is a tangible element, a physical element, in connection to the left leg, which is the unseen, which is the internal, you see. So it's kind of flipped the way the energies are manifesting with this Odu. So it's about bringing spirituality into our everyday life and bringing practicality, staying grounded in connection to what we experience internally. This Odu, this combination of Odus, Obara and ED, through their interaction, suggests that through elevation of consciousness, this will lead to a significant rebirth at the emotional and spiritual levels. Obara deals with elevation. It deals with connecting our consciousness with something that is universal, expansion of consciousness, whereas ED itself deals with rebirth. So elevation leads to rebirth. We start with the right leg and we move to the left leg, Obara ED, elevation leading to rebirth. So if we emphasize our spiritual development, if we keep our spiritual aspirations strong, if we apply ourselves correctly, we actually are more assertive in this direction. We can experience the the type of elevation that can lead to a significant rebirth emotionally and spiritually. This is what this suggests. Obari D is an Odu that also speaks about independence, and it warns about losing our independence. It speaks about independence and integrity, maintaining our independence and integrity throughout the year in connection to the things that we do. So with that message, we want to see, is there any way in which we are losing our independence? Is there anything that we are dependent on? Is there someone that we are dependent on? Is there something that we are dependent on for a sense of security, for a sense of identity, for a sense of, of feeling okay? We must identify these things and make sure that we're not losing our independence. We want to strengthen our independence this year. This is what supports the elevation. This is what supports the rebirth, is maintaining our independence and maintaining our integrity, doing the right thing at all times, doing the right thing even if it's not convenient to do the right thing, maintaining integrity at all times to the best of our ability. This old collection of Odus overall, although the emphasis this year is not in the category of relationships, the combination of Odus and their messages very heavily speak in the direction of relationships. So we'll see how the primary Odu highlights relationships as well as some of the other Odus that are supporting the reading. In connection to Obari D, in addition to what was said, this Odu also speaks about a relationship becoming unbalanced or having a demanding partner, a relationship becoming unbalanced by a demanding partner. Maybe someone is expecting too much out of us. Maybe we are expecting too much out of someone else. And as a result, the relationship that we are in becomes unbalanced. Maybe the relationship with ourselves is becoming unbalanced because we're placing too many demands upon ourselves. So we have to heed that message as much as we can and see in which way does it speak to our life. Do we have any relationship, whether with ourselves or with someone else, that is becoming unbalanced? And what is the cause of that unbalance? So this is the message there in connection to Obari D. Now, if we look towards the Ire, this is the on-path Odu. This gives insight into the nature of what we can expect going forward or how we should apply ourselves going forward. The Ire Odu always deals with the future. It deals with what's ahead of us. We have in that category the Odu Owanrin Irosu. Owanrin Irosu. This is a very interesting Odu, especially having it in that category, which deals with the future. Right off the top, Owanrin Irosu in the Ire position would suggest that the second part of the year will be better than the first, which means we may encounter some challenges, some opposition, some struggle during the first part of the year, the first half of the year. And after that, after we've assimilated the lessons from those challenges, after we have grown from those challenges, from those obstacles, we may experience a significant, spurt of growth, of progress. So it doesn't mean that it has to be like that, but Owanrin Irosu is an Odu that says that the second part of a time cycle is going to be better than the first. So with that, let's just be prepared for any type of unexpected challenges that may arise. Owanrin itself deals with unexpected turbulence, unexpected shifts, unexpected experiences that could shake us up, unexpected experiences that could set us back. So in the midst of that, we need to maintain the qualities of Irosu, which suggests a long-term view. Having a long-term view, having correct thinking, correct values, meaning being in integrity at all times, not giving into short-term gratification, having that long-term view. Even if the storms appear, the turbulence appears from Owanrin, if we keep our eyes on the goal, we keep our eyes on the prize, if we keep our eyes on where we're going, we're more likely to make it through those unexpected challenges and shifts that could come through Owanrin. So it's not saying that these unexpected shifts are only going to happen during the first part of the year, but let's have the heads up. These type of things may appear during the first 6 months of 2025. Owanu Nirosu is also an Odu that speaks about relationships. So it highlights the message from the previous Odu, the primary Odu, which talks about relationships as well. Owanu Nirosu is referring to relationships in connection with our ancestral energy and suggests that we need to maintain close connection with our ancestral energy in order to straighten out temporal difficulties. So if we do face that unexpected turbulence from a wandering, this Odu suggests that we maintain close connection with our ancestors, draw upon the strength, draw upon the support, draw upon the examples of those who come before us in our bloodline in order to straighten out those everyday difficulties that we are likely to face with this Odu going forward. Owanu Nirosu is an Odu that it speaks about the importance of dreams and encourages us to pay close attention to our dreams because answers may come through the dreams. Insights may come through our dreams. Intuitions through our dreams that can give us support in connection to the challenges that we face. Our ancestors are oftentimes speaking to us through our dreams. They're communicating to us symbolically through our dreams. So the more receptive we are to the messages we receive during the dream state, the better. So we want to be open to that line of communication with our ancestors that can manifest in the dream state itself. Not overthinking our dreams, not trying to bring meaning into every dream that we have, but paying attention to those strong messages that come through the dream state in connection to our ancestors. You may receive some grace in that way. So this is Owanu Nirosu. This is the Odu that deals with going forward. And that even gives us encouragement, something to encourage our development. Maybe we don't pay much attention to our dreams. Maybe we don't have much continuity of consciousness during the dream state. But this is actually a sign of progress on the spiritual path itself. The ability to maintain consciousness, the ability to maintain awareness during the dream state. So this is something that we want to work on going forward. And this is something that actually comes naturally the more we awaken our consciousness. In other words, the more that we actually awaken our Ori, this type of continuity of consciousness during the dream state begins to grow more and more. If we look left towards the Ibi Odu, we have the Odu Oshe Ogbe, Oshomina. This is a very interesting Odu to have in the Ibi position. The Ibi position deals with where we're coming from. It deals with what's behind us. It deals with the past. But it also deals with what's coming towards us. You see, because that's the receptive side. The left side of an Odu, as well as the Ibi, deals with the receptive energy. It deals with what's coming to us. And this Odu, Oshe Ogbe, warns of association with evil people. It warns of associating with the wrong people. So if we look at it from the perspective of that Odu pertaining to the past, maybe in the past we had relationships with the wrong people. Maybe we were building relationships with toxic people or stuck in a toxic relationship of some sort. You see, so we want to look back to see what type of relationships did we have? What type of relationships did we entertain? And what type of relationships do we want to have now and in the future? So it warns of associating with the wrong people. So we may need to rule out not just people, but also things. That message can be pertained to people as well as like things, habits, environments, specific people, relationships. So we want to look back and see what type of relationships do we have. Maybe we need to rule some out. Maybe we need to let go of certain relationships. Maybe some relationships, some habits, some associations are not meant to be with us in this new year. You see, so what are we bringing with us into the new year? Does it support our growth? Does it support our development? Does it support us going forward in a positive way? Or are we bringing someone or something with us into the new year that would be best to be left behind? You see, so we want to have that type of understanding. We want to look at our life from that perspective. Oshe Ogbe is also an Odu that speaks about, it encourages us to become aware, to be aware of emotional temptation, emotional temptations. Now, this kind of sheds light on the receptive nature of the Odu in the EB position because it deals with what's coming to us. So there may be some experiences coming to us from toxic people, from the wrong people, that could be challenging us emotionally. So we should be aware of emotional temptation in connection to this Odu Osheogbe in the EB position. Maybe that emotional temptation is tied to the message from Obara Ed, which speaks about an unbalanced relationship, which speaks about a demanding partner. You see, so we should pay attention to that arena because one, we may need to break away from certain relationships that are caused a source of imbalance in our life. But maybe we also have some lessons to learn from those type of relationships where we may be tested emotionally. So we should be by all means prepared for these type of experiences and aim to use those experiences to elevate our consciousness, hence the Obara in the primary Odu, so that we can have the rebirth that it talks about through ED. So to use those temptations, those experiences with the wrong people or the wrong experiences, right? The lower vibrational experiences in people, toxic environments, toxic people. Use the experiences that are testing us emotionally to support the elevation of our consciousness. It's about the integration of those experiences in the direction of elevation, in the direction of transformation. So these are the primary Ire and EB Odus. Yeah, maybe we should break it up a little bit and before going over the full reading, maybe give some insight just with those three Odus alone, see if we can add more to it before going on to the subsets.
We are in synchronicity with that idea. Thank you for breaking that out. Thank you. I was hoping that we would have Bajuitan speak now. Would you like to?
Yes. Thank you, Noel.
Welcome.
I would just like to add the Obara ED is an empowering, Odu. It calls on each and every one of you to draw from your knowledge and your wisdom. You all have different experiences that you bring, and use that to help others to be a leader, to step up and be independent. It's very easy for us to depend on others to tell us, okay, teach us. But you already have a lot of information. You already have a lot of wisdom. You just don't realize it. And Obara ED is telling you, you need to be empowered and bring this out and use it. And trust yourself, trust your intuition. Otherwise, you also mentioned dreams, and it's kind of interesting because I'm having so many lucid dreams lately, and I'm waking up in the middle of the night, and it made me think about it. Well, I should be writing this down because later on I'm not going to remember, and it is part of learning how to receive messages like from your ancestors. And it's so funny because I've been dreaming about my ancestors, people that are like my mom that passed. She's been coming up in my dreams a lot, and a lot of times I don't understand the message. And, I have to think about it, but you forget. So a good practice is, if you want to work on your dreams, is to tell yourself before you go to bed, you have to program your mind. You have to say, okay, if I dream, I want to remember my dreams. Okay. So, and if you do wake up in the middle of the night because you were dreaming, and you might want to, if you don't want to write it down, maybe have like a little recorder next to you, say, even your phone, to say, I dream about this, and that happened. And that's it. Then later on you can review it and you think about it. As you do this, you're going to find that those dreams become more, I don't know, more detailed and more specific. And you're also going to find that you can control your dreams. You know, if you're having a bad dream, you can tell yourself, this is only a dream. I can change this, you know, and then, you know, because you're programming yourself, you know, and that's that kind of awareness that you start to develop. Okay. Um, so getting back to the Obara ED is very associated with Shango, which is one of the main Orisha that are going to be guiding us. If you think about the Orisha that are guiding us this year, you want to adopt those qualities. Like Shango have to do with a strategy and having a plan, being a leader, being a, you know, that he's a king, right? But he also has the presence of mind to be calm and also be joyful. You want to be joyful. You don't want to. You want to be optimistic. You know, everything is not gloom and doom. You know, it's like we all have challenges, and everybody's going to have challenges. But you have to think about it. Okay, this is a difficult situation I'm on or I'm experiencing. What can I learn from this? You know, because once you figure that out, then you can start moving on from that experience. You see, you know, everything is not out, the universe is not out to hurt you, to attack you, you know, to make your life miserable. It's there to teach you, you know, and that's something that it's very hard to get our heads around. That every experience that we have is to teach us something about ourselves and to help us evolve and grow. You see, so so with that, I'm gonna pass it on to Yanifa Basa, you know, to say a few words.
Ajay, thank you both for all that you give. These are great, great pieces of messages for us all. I'm always learning from both of you. I would say I want to thank Oluo Ifakaide for mentioning that it is an individual experience, that you will take the other elements you know about your sacred code. Most of you have your awareness of what your life path is when you got your Guardian Orisha read. And that will be an element that you will always, you know, filter everything through. So you're going to take this Obara ED and filter that through your life path. And then when we talk about the ancestor piece, your guardian ancestor would be involved with that as well. I also want to talk to the place of the air and the ground, since I'm such a nature girl. I see so much about what you need to do this year for preparation, because as the outer verse is moving, so without announcing what it's going to do next, and you just become engaged or meet it, you know, all of a sudden, you're going to need to know how to stay grounded with all of that so that you will not lose your footing, that you will be victorious over whatever the challenges are. And I mean, everyday daily stuff, you know, can be coming at you already. I mean, I will say, you know, I'm already feeling all of it. It's here. And you know, there's that time where I go, where's my husband of 40 years to come and help me, you know? Like we were talking here about being independent, you know? And you know, just to have somebody to hold me through some of the hard parts, you know? And I think all of us can say that they have those feelings sometimes, you know, wanting to lean in on some support outside, you know. But this is the year we must use our own inner, what we've already known, and how we are going to be able to assert ourselves to become a manifester of what we're, you know, thinking about being this year, right? So it is a time to activate yourself. And the more consistent you can be with your commitment to that, because, you know, we go up and back, you know, we're in, we're out, we're committed, and then we lose our way a little bit. But the more you keep consistent, of course, we know we're going to get further ahead of things. And that balance that we've been talking about is very key this year. Not to keep looking on one side of everything, but to make sure you look at both sides of everything. the inside, the outside, you know, all that surrounds you. And I think this year, you know, with Edie, it's a pushing, a birthing us. We're to birth out these ideas that we've been incubating for so long. So many times you get the float by of, you know, don't forget about that idea you had, you know, and, you know, to kind of make sure we stay on the vision of what it is that we've been having for so long, coming back and forth into our subconscious. You know, this is here to manifest, to birth, to you know, honor your honor the gifts you got and those visions that you received, you know, to honor them by producing. And Obara is a producer, you know, but in a new way. You know, it's not like the old way you used to do things, you know. It's like taking all of that past and bringing it in, and it's been sitting in underground, like really growing its roots and getting stronger. And now you come out this year. You emotionally and spiritually release yourself into it, you know, and that courage piece, you know, seeing and knowing who you are and what you have to work with and doing more with what's there that you haven't used. It's time to use it. It's time to expand it this year. So I have more for later. So come back. Thank you.
Yeah, you brought up an important point regarding the, you know, rebirthing, you know, giving birth to things, kind of pushing things out in connection to like the visions and the inspirations. Now, this is what comes with Obara. Obara brings inspirations. It brings insights, brings ideas, but Obara is known as the resting and hovering one. This is someone who may have the insight, who may have the inspiration, who may have the vision, but yet doesn't take action on it.
Right.
So there's a tendency, because the reading does come EB, for this limitation of Obara to manifest, this tendency of Obara to kind of manifest, where we have the insights, but we don't actually take action. So we need to take action in the direction of what we want to birth. We need to be assertive in the direction of what we want to give birth to, because the inspiration is not enough. The insight is not enough. The vision is not enough. We have to actually do something. So are we, with Obara, the question is, are we speaking what we are envisioning? You see, are we taking action in the direction of what we are envisioning? You see?
Are we strategizing because you have your Shango piece, you know, are you strategizing? This is what I'm working on so much in my mind, like trying to less things to work on because my mind has so many ideas. And you know, as you get older, you feel like your time is shorter to manifest. So you want to get them all done, you know? So what I'm doing as an Ogun is trying to sort it out and say, okay, this is most important. This is the priority of the priority, you know? And so however y'all figure out your path out of your way of working, you know, to pick, you know, 3 things that you want to really settle into expanding with and honor all the visions that your ancestors are giving you, all the teachings that the universe gave you all before you got here today. You know, this is the time to wrap them up and package them and produce them.
That Shango piece is important. You mentioned it now, and also Fajr Itan mentioned it as well regarding Shango manifesting through that leg of Obara. The Shango is the strategy. So we may have the insights, we see what we want to give birth to, but unless we have the right strategy, unless we take the right approach and do things in the proper order, in the proper way,
right,
it's unlikely that we will actually give birth to that idea, that it will reach fruition, will manifest it. So we most certainly have to draw upon the skills, the quality of Shango.
And then you have Ogun. Ogun is here too with us, right? The worker, the producer too. So it is time. You know, it is the year of, you know, shape-shifting yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the primary Odu, the Ire and the EB, how they interact. So we can see what comes in our experiences in connection to those Odus, that combination of Odus. And we have the subsets now as well. We have the areas of destiny, health, success, relationships, family, and victory over difficulties. Some significant Odus fell in all of those categories. So we'll look at them one by one to see what they say. Starting with the category of destiny, we have the Odu Osa Otura. Osa, we know, deals with change. Otura deals with the mystic vision, going through a personal resurrection, a personal transformation. You see? So are we embracing the type of changes in our life that will allow us to have the transformation that allows our destiny to become possible, that allows us to fulfill our mission, to do what we are here to do? Are we creating the changes that lead to that type of transformation in the direction of fulfilling our destiny, being able to fulfill our mission? Or are we embracing the changes that are needed for that type of transformation to take place? Osa Otura is also an Odu that speaks about truth. This Odu says that the gods, the Orisha, the deities favor those who tell the truth, meaning that if we want support in connection to our destiny, our purpose, our mission, our spiritual meaning in this life, we have to be an honest individual. This is a test of honesty. Are we an honest person? Are we being honest about what we need? Are we being honest about what we want? Are we being honest about who we are? Are we being honest in our actions towards other people? That's the integrity piece that's talked about in Obari ED. Integrity deals with truth because it's about being the truth behind closed doors, in public, being who you truly are. You see, so are we living the truth? Not just telling the truth, speaking the truth, but are we living the truth? Are we embodying the truth? You see, so the gods favor those who speak the truth. The gods favor those who live in integrity. You see, so there needs to be this type of honesty and this type of transparency in us, where we are reflecting the truth of who we are. We're not portraying ourselves to be someone that we're not. We're not portraying ourselves to be something that we're not. You see, we lose the blessings, the support of the Orisha, of our ancestors, of Egbe, of all the forces that support us in this tradition that we know of, when we're not living in integrity. The gods favor those who tell the truth. The gods favor those who live in accordance with the truth of their purpose. You see, are we living in alignment with our purpose? Are the things that we're doing in our life, the inspirations, the things that we are trying to give birth to, are those things in alignment with our purpose? There needs to be an alignment there. You see, are we being the person that we came here to be? That's what the question is in this destiny category. It's about us reflecting the truth of who we are and living in accordance with the spiritual assignment that we have in this life, the mission that we have in this life. The gods favor those who tell the truth. So we can expect some lessons to come in that direction this year in connection to integrity. Maybe it deals with us having to tell the truth as opposed to leaving out information, being honest with others about something that's going on. And sometimes maybe it's not necessarily like we did something wrong and we need to tell the truth. It could be like that. But it could also be us just being willing to tell the truth about where we are at a given time. Maybe we're in depression. Maybe we're going through a rough patch. But we're afraid to let our family know. We're afraid to let our friends know. We're afraid to let our colleagues know because we're afraid of how that might make us look, right? But in telling the truth and being honest about where we are, being honest, the fact that we are human, that we go through challenges, that we go through struggles, that type of honesty, openness, that type of transparency will allow blessings from the Orisha to manifest through the people in our life. Blessings that would never be able to manifest if we weren't telling the truth, if we weren't speaking that truth, if we were trying to hide the truth of where we are at a given time. So we need to be honest about what we feel. We're not less than because we are having a difficult time in life. We're not less than because, we feel down about something. You see, we're not less than because we've made a mistake. We are human. We have limitations. If we think about the qualities, one of the first qualities of a Moluabi that's been talked about, it says that no human being is perfect. Every human being has a limitation. We have limitations,
Mhm.
you see. So we may need to be honest with ourselves about our limitations. Only then can the universe really show up and support us to overcome those challenges, to outgrow those limitations. Only then can somebody else in our life show up who maybe has the skills that we lack, who maybe has a perfection that complements our limitation, that complements our imperfection. Only when we're truthful about where we are can the people who are able to help us show up. So we need to be transparent for blessings to manifest through people, for even miraculous blessings to manifest through Orisha. Maybe a certain grace appears within ourselves because we go to Obatala, we go to Shango, we go to Ogun, we go to our ancestors with full honesty. And now some type of grace appears in us. Some type of grace appears in our life from our willingness to be open, from our willingness to be truthful about where we are. So truth is an important quality, virtue for us to align with this year. And again, that's integrity, ultimately. This Odu, Osaotura, also speaks about the need to confront a problem that we have been avoiding. Maybe there's something that's standing in our way. Maybe there's a problem that we don't want to face, that we don't want to acknowledge. A problem that's there as a test in the direction of our destiny. Maybe there's a hurdle that we need to cross, a major obstacle that we need to overcome, a problem in our life in connection to our karma, in connection to our purpose, a problem in our life that's a problem within ourselves, within us that's manifesting, that we are running away from. And it's only in facing that problem, being honest that we have that problem, that we have that obstacle. It's only in facing it that we have the opportunity to transform it, to overcome it, to elevate, and move in the direction of our purpose, move in the direction of our destiny. So there is no achieving destiny. There is no fulfilling our purpose in life without overcoming challenges. There is no fulfilling our mission in life without overcoming our limitations. Our limitations are there to test us in the direction of what we've come here to achieve. We are here to develop the resources we need to achieve that goal. So we should expect challenges. We should expect obstacles. We should expect problems to arise in our life to test us in connection to the greater goal of our life. But if we spend our life in denial, that we don't have those problems, that we don't have those challenges, that we don't have those limitations, those obstacles, then how could we ever make progress? If we spend our life avoiding those problems as opposed to facing them, how could we ever make progress? The tendency to suppress is a strong tendency within human beings. We want to suppress. We want to push away the things that we don't want to face within ourselves, the things we don't want to face in our life. We can spend an entire lifetime walking on eggshells, maneuvering around the things that we don't want to feel. But our transformation stands on the other side of those things that we are avoiding in life most of the time. So this Odu Osaotura calls for honesty and the need to face the things that we have been avoiding, our deepest challenges, our life's traumas. These are the things that stand in the way of us fulfilling our purpose. So when we think about this Odu, let us think about the deepest challenges we face in life. The things that have scarred us the most, the things that weigh heavy on us, the most heaviest on us in life. There is no fulfilling purpose without facing these things. There is no moving in the direction of purpose unless we're willing to meet our karma, to face the energy of our karma. head on. Not avoiding it, not doing some elbow to shift it, to move it out the way, but facing it head on, embracing it with our consciousness, integrating it within our heart. So this is what the Odu Osaotura is speaking about in the category of destiny. So this requires us all to look within ourselves for the answers, because we all have our own challenges, we all have our own obstacles. So let's see how that shows up for each of us. And this is Osaotura. Yeah, do you want to go one by one together collectively?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
It's your time.
Yeah, it's very easy to tell somebody, be yourself, live your life. But think about a young person who is, has had to deal with peer pressure and is insecure. And it's very hard for them to do that. And it's very hard for, an adult person as well. But it's but it's even harder for a young person, I think. So the reading itself is saying that you need to be empowered to be yourself. And the Odu for destiny, is saying that, if you don't adjust to this, change is going to happen, and then it becomes a little more difficult because, we don't deal very well with change. Nobody likes change. I don't know anybody that likes change, but change is good in many ways when we're stuck, right? You don't want to be stuck all the time. You need that's when you welcome change. And sometimes we don't even realize, okay, something's got to change because, nothing's happening in my life, right? So, I do see that there's going to be a year of transformation for not just yourself, but for everyone, in your life. And I specifically see it happening in the spring, starting in the spring when you become very noticeable. Right now, I can see it already. It's starting to change, but it's going to be a big shift coming up. And so that's what we have to be ready for. And the thing is, you have to welcome it, because this is important, for your growth, so let it happen, it's okay. But the main thing, specifically dealing with your destiny, if you want to stay on path for your destiny, is you got to be yourself. Think about how often, we're avoid talking about our religion, for example, or faith, because we're embarrassed, or maybe because somebody might criticize us, might think less of us, right? So what happens then? You're denying that person or that experience, or your experience, your wisdom that you bring to what you bring to the table, right? And that's what we're talking about, And I know because sometimes, like, like I want to go to a Christmas party, right? And, and people might ask me things. It's okay, well, maybe I don't want to talk about that, because, you know, they might think less of me because my faith is different than theirs, right? But you're trying to protect them, but you're really not helping them. You have to kind of say, no, this is who I am, you know? Maybe you don't accept it, but that is who I am, and maybe you'll come around and see that I have something valuable to share, that I have knowledge and wisdom to share. So think about that. When we say, be yourself and live your life. You have a destiny. And the reason we go off path is because we're not living that life we're supposed to have, right? That we're meant to follow. So with that, I hand it over to Vasa.
Thank you. Great ideas. Thank you. So I always see how important peace is. And Otura is the Odu of peacefulness, pleasantness, but not being like like where you're holding back. This is Osa in front of it, right? So we want to step out, step into things, try things out, use ourselves more, but not to the point where it takes away your peace. and where you are enabled to, in order for you to be able to feel okay about going ahead and taking some of these steps in, that you need to have that inner alignment, that inner peace that Kyle teaches in the courses of how to get yourself into that connectivity of yourself. And when you are there, you are able to do all of the things that we're talking about tonight, and feel comfortable about it, not feel afraid or like you might be making an error somewhere, or trying to be perfect about it. It's more like, you're in more of a flow of and a harmony. Let's just say the word harmony with it. That you go out and you reach your destiny through that energy of harmony. Thank you. I mean, to enjoy it, too. I mean, that's the thing. I see so many younger people, afraid, like they're nervous about things, and they're not enjoying, and then their mind is getting so stressed out. So it would be helpful, first of all, like I always think of be prepared. Be prepared. Be prepared. Thank you. What do we got next here?
We have the health category. With the health category, we broke it down into 3 aspects to see which was the most relevant: physical health, psychological health, or spiritual health. And spiritual health ranked the highest. So that's the emphasis there in the area of health, is our spiritual health. Coming with the Odu of Osa Ogbe, or Osa Eshu, as this Odu is also known. Osa Ogbe is an Odu that speaks about taking time to use spiritual insights to appreciate the joys of life. It speaks about someone who may be becoming overly temporal, focusing too much on temporal things and losing spiritual balance. So this Odu in the spiritual health category is very much confirming what was said. It's reminding us of the message from the primary Odu, which suggests that unitary vision between the spiritual world and the material world, the integration between our spiritual life and material life. To not become overly temporal at the expense of our spiritual growth, of our spirituality, which in this world can be very easy. It's very easy to do because there's so much demands placed upon us just to survive, that it becomes very easy to forget about spiritual aspiration, spiritual growth, or even because of those demands that we have to survive, we start approaching our spiritual tradition, our spirituality, for the purpose of maintaining our physical life, as opposed to using it for spiritual elevation. Let's keep in mind that none of the things that we attain at a material level through our spirituality go with us when we die. None of these things go with us when this life is over, but the spiritual achievements that we do have, the progress that we do make spiritually, you're being engaged on a spiritual path, that does go with us when we leave. So we should have integrity in connection to our spiritual practice and to our spirituality, making sure that we're relating into our tradition in the right way for the right purposes, being in integrity, not misusing our tradition to make things the way we want them to be at the material level. In other words, not becoming so overly temporal and losing spiritual balance. When we emphasize our spiritual health, when we utilize our tradition for what it's meant to be used for, the elevation of consciousness, our life naturally smooths out at the material level. We find naturally a better integration at the material level in our life because we become better human beings. We become wiser human beings, become more patient human beings. We become more reliable human beings, more capable human beings, you see, more loving human beings. So our life in all areas of life will improve if we are indeed moving forward spiritually. So spiritual health is the most important emphasis for us in the category of health. Now this Odu is a very spiritual Odu, Osa Ogbe. One, in connection to what was just said about taking time to use spiritual insights to appreciate the joys of life, right? But also because this Odu Osaogbe speaks about the need of spiritual elevation directly. It speaks about undergoing some form of initiatory rite, some form of initiation, some type of ceremony that's helping to elevate our consciousness. You see, so this is a very, very spiritual Odu. Osaogbe. So that's what I have with this Odu in the spiritual health category. See, what more can we add?
One of the things I would add is that, as you go through the day, look to appreciate everything around you. Like, for example, like, I went outside to the yard, right? And I see the squirrels going about their business, gathering nuts, burying them, and then seeing my dogs go out there and taking the nuts out and eating them. You know, you know, it's just to see that, how nature works,
All the time.
and it was kind of funny to me because, the squirrel got so busy burying the nuts, and my dogs are going out there and digging them out. And I tell them, don't do that. They're not going to have any nuts for the winter. Of course, dogs being dogs, they think it's a toy, right? It's something that they discovered. Look what I found. They're bringing it inside. They keep bringing in all these nuts, all joyful. And say, look what I have. Look what I have.
Right.
But it's appreciating the joys of life, right? Appreciating how nature works. Appreciating, like, okay, it's snowing, but it's pretty, or if we have a nice sunny day, even though it's cold,
Right.
if you learn how to appreciate everything, that's kind of like when we're talking about spiritual health, right? It's not everything about, doing your work and everything. Think about how your day goes, right? It's like you might be so busy all day that you didn't even get a chance to even say a prayer or say thanks. It only takes maybe 5 minutes to just stop and say, "Oh, thank you for the nice day that I have," or "Thank you for the food that I have," or that sort of. "Thank you for I have good health today. I feel well. I feel good today." It's having that connection. That's what we mean by spiritual health. Don't lose that connection. You know, stay connected to your spiritual side. Thanks.
Thank you. I see like Osas can be pushing you to do something more, right? To again, get readier for some new beginnings, new levels. You're going to be seeing things more. You're going to, I know Ogbe is all this light that you now see, not just what was you saw before in this particular angle view. You are now going to see much more. There's going to be so many more decisions to make this year and quickly. So that's why Obatala is here, getting our head ready to be clear, to crystallize, to, be able to realize very efficiently what is the best choice to make out of all the choices. What's the healthiest choice for you? Again, keeping you in the peaceful way, but you're going to be, either you take on and say, well, I do want to change that, and I am going to go there, and I'm going to commit to that, and I will sense I will have the response of something new happening in my life for me. But if you don't go and do it, this year is going to do it to you, or for you, let's just say. Could be big or small, but there's definitely going to be some, some shifts.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready?
This Odu in this category of spiritual health encourages us. It emphasizes joy as a necessary ingredient of our health, for our health. To pay attention to the things in life that bring us joy. And like Julian was saying, it's paying attention to all those little things we might, most people would be considered insignificant. Just looking at the little things in life that bring us joy and filling ourselves up consciously with it, paying attention to those moments, filling ourselves up with that energy as much as we can. That energy goes a long way in the direction of our health.
Keeps your vibration.
It keeps us young. And let's not forget the Odu Irosu Iwori speaks about joy. It says, let us do things with joy. It encourages us to do things with joy. The energy of joy itself is a natural expression of our divine self, our Ipanri. Joy is the natural state of being of our true self. So and this is essentially what we discovered, this energy of complete joy, inner happiness, serenity, bliss, that we discover when we manage to access that part of ourselves. When we manage to touch that part of our being, or when that part of our being is revealed. This is what we feel. We feel a joy without object. We feel a joy that's there without any purpose, without any reason. It's a joy that exists independent of anything happening. You see? But we can use the energy of joy that appears in our day-to-day life during those little moments when we watch the squirrels bury the nuts. During those little moments when somebody says something funny, or when we laugh at ourselves about something stupid we did, or watching a beautiful sunset, or no matter how insignificant it may seem, we can use those moments of joy that appear in our day-to-day life as a gateway towards discovering the joy of our Ipanri. You see, because all those moments of joy that manifest in connection to something happening in our life, it's connected to that divine joy that we discover at the level of our Ipanri. So we can use that as an invitation, those moments of joy that appear in our life, to consciously turn our awareness towards our Ori, where we will discover the ultimate joy, the highest joy. So this is actually a form of spiritual practice, realizing the energy of joy.
The elevation, yeah.
So we can use joy as a path towards the elevation of our consciousness. How many moments of joy can we cultivate throughout the day? That could be the approach. That can be the practice that we include in this reading.
Yeah.
How many moments in the day were we able to capture? How many moments of joy throughout the day are we able to capture?
Little stuff. Yeah.
Even if we just spend there consciously for a few seconds, and we allow ourselves to feel the joy itself, not focus so much on what's causing the joy, but just focus on the pure energy of the joy itself.
Yeah.
See what that does to you. See what that brings, what type of quality that brings into your life, into your experience. So this is an exercise that we can do.
And to create it.
Even to create it, to create moments of joy.
I'm definitely having a good time doing that with my workmen. Because that's who I have contact with every day. And they get out of the truck and they come over for a hug. Each one of these men come over and they want a hug from me. And we smile and we give joy to one another and a gratitude and appreciation. And we begin our workday together with that hug and the joy. And I tell you, the energy is fantastic to work, But I did start that. I created that. I intentionally wanted to have that feeling of joy in my home as it was getting created. And that's what I saw as one of the ways to create it. One of the tools was the people working in it, putting their energy into it, Today I saged all of them for their New Year's I had them all out doing the star and saging them outside. These guys have never been saged. It was kind of funny. And they liked it. They really embraced it. So it was joyful for me to do it. Yeah. Little things.
So it's not just about the things that bring us joy in life. It's also about us bringing joy into life, bringing joy into the lives of other people. Maybe we are that source of joy, that spark of joy in someone else's experience.
Right. Yeah.
You see? And this joy can be a healing energy itself. You see?
Yeah.
It's the light within the darkness, can be the light within the darkness itself. So what brings us joy in life? This energy of joy for me is an important one because it's tied to my name, Ifakayade. Ifakayade means Ifa brought joy or Ifa brings joy. So for me, this energy has a very important emphasis, place in my life. So this is the Odu in the spiritual health category, Osa Ogbe. We use the moments of joy that appear in our life, the moments of joy that we create in our life, as a path towards discovering the joy that exists beyond everything, the joy that exists for itself, by itself. This is the path. So shall we move to the next category?
Do it.
We have the third category is the category of success. What we need to do to be successful in our endeavors. And this is indicated by the Odu Ogunda Bede, Ogunda Ogbe,
The Luo sign.
our Luo sign, yes, or our Luo's path.
Yes.
This Odu, as he said it, as he said it back in 2010,
Right.
when I got my Ita, he said, this Odu Ogunda Bede is a one-trick pony about being honest.
Right.
So this Odu is emphasizing the message that was appearing in the destiny category about truth, about honesty. Ogunda Bede calls for honesty and integrity. So this Odu is communicating very strongly with the primary Odu, Obari D, because that Odu speaks about integrity and not losing our independence. So in order to be successful, in order to stay in alignment with the primary path, we need to be honest with ourselves, honest with other people, live in accordance with the truth of our heart. Live in integrity at all times is what this Odu calls for. This is how we will be successful. So if we find ourselves facing difficulties, if we find ourselves trying to achieve something, honesty and integrity are the tools that we need. That's the support that we have to achieve, to be successful. You see, are the things that we are trying to achieve and become successful at, the things that we're looking to have success in, are those things in alignment with the truth of who we are? Are those things in alignment with the truth of our path? You see, are those things in integrity with what we are here to do? See, if we choose the things that are in alignment with our destiny, if we choose the things, or in other words, if we choose to honor what's in our heart, you see, our destiny is tied to our heart's aspirations. The things that bring us joy is also tied to our heart, it's tied to our soul. Those things in life that bring us joy, that we love to do, the things that we would do even if there was no compensation, the things that we would do if all of our worries financially were taken away. What are the things that you would still choose to do on a daily basis? Those things that bring you joy. These are the things that are in alignment with your destiny, that are in alignment with your mission, your spiritual meaning in this life. If we choose these type of things, we choose to pursue these type of things, the things that are in integrity with who we are, what we're about, what we're here to do, then we have a greater chance of succeeding. We have a support with these things. We have a support by the Orisha Ogun, manifesting through the Odu Ogunda, the right leg of this Odu Ogunda Bede. Ogun is the remover of obstacles. He removes blockages, he clears the way. You see, Ogun will naturally show up to support us when we live in integrity, when we're living in pure honesty. You see, the gods favor those who tell the truth, the gods favor those who live the truth. This grace of Ogun can manifest to help us become successful in that direction. We can expect blockages, obstacles, the way to be closed when we are pursuing things that are not in alignment with what we're really about, things that are not in alignment with what's in our heart. You see. So, this is what I see with Ogunda Bede. Let's see if we can add some more.
There's a proverb that says the machete that clears the path will find its way forward. This kind of tells me that sometimes we can't see our path. We can't see which way to go. Sometimes we need to make our own path, right? We need to, get to work and okay, I'm gonna go forward. I'm gonna figure this out, and that's where Ogun comes in. Ogun is associated with the machete, right? Sometimes we need to carve our own path until we find our way, and and that's something. Don't get stuck. In other words, it's very easy to get stuck and say, oh, I don't know which way to go now. It's no. It's like that's not an answer. You know, you can't just stop. You got to keep going. So you're gonna have to figure it out. So you just keep going. You keep carving a path and see where it takes you. And you'd be surprised. Where you end up. But not doing anything is not the answer. You have to kind of keep going. Okay.
Thank you. Great idea there. I think of it also as passion, like your heart energy. Ogun is associated with the heart too. And so when you live in the state of creativity, you really can manifest more successfully. You're using such a high frequency to work with. And when you're doing something that your heart desires it, and you feel so good about doing it, things open up just like on a very easy way, it just happens like that. And, when you don't carry a lot of the weight of the world on your shoulders and just give yourself freedom, that's so good of a day as well, where you can manifest differently using that energy. Mhm.
The Isodu Ogunabede is one that also suggests that removing obstacles or clearing obstacles away leads to an open road. So maybe we want to be successful or we want to achieve something, but there are certain obstacles in the way. That if we address those obstacles, if we remove those blockages, the road is open. It leads to an open road, you see. The possibilities are there, endless possibilities. So removing blockages aligns with the Odu in the destiny category. Osaoturu would said that we need to confront a problem that we have been avoiding. Maybe there's something that stands directly in our way that we have been avoiding that we didn't want to face. And until we face it, the road is going to be blocked. So we clear the way by facing that particular thing. So if we can identify what the obstacle is in connection to what we want to achieve or what we need to achieve, we have a greater chance of being successful. Because it's only through identifying the blockage that we can actually address it and remove it, do the work that's needed to remove it. Maybe
Right?
there are certain steps that actually stand in the way of the goal of us being successful, achieving whatever it is that we want to do. But until we take care of certain things, there's no way to reach the end. We don't just arrive from point A to point Z. You see, we have to go through each step.
Mhm.
Maybe we reach L or M, and there's some type of blockage there, but we're in denial of it. We don't want to see it. We just want to move as fast as we can towards the goal. But it's not possible. We need to address whatever that is. We need to take the step. There's no important than the step that we are taking at this moment. You see, that's the only way we can reach the goal is if we take each step towards that goal.
Right.
So whatever needs to be done, whatever work needs to be done as a precursor towards us achieving that goal is what we need to do. That's the obstacle. That's the blockage. Maybe it's something outside of us. Maybe there's an extra step, something that we didn't consider that needs to be done. Some of the details we didn't pay attention to. Or maybe there's obstacles within ourselves. We want to achieve something, we want to be something, we want to become something, but there are certain blockages within.
Mhm.
And until we address, we'll always stand in the way of that goal. So if we look inside, we can discover what that is and we can do the work. And so doing the work that's needed to remove those inner blockages. And if they are of an external nature, we take care of those as well. Ogunabede. Honesty is only, this is about us being honest about what's inside, being honest about what we need to do within ourselves to better align ourselves with what we want to be. You see, being in integrity. Being honest about the work that needs to take place.
Mhm.
We have relationships now. The Odu relationships is indicated by the category of relationships is indicated by the Odu Ogunda Oshe. Ogundashe. This is an interesting Odu to have in the relationship category. It's an Odu that encourages us not to punish other people for their physical characteristics. Meaning, it speaks about one who marches to the beat of their own drum. So this is about marching to the beat of our own drum, walking our path, keeping our eyes on our own mat, and at the same time allowing other people to march to the beat of their drum, allowing other people to be who they are at the same time. To not punish people because of how they are, but because of how they look. Stay focused on what we need to do, stay focused on our path, be and let others be, is what this Odu suggests, Ogundashe. And in the area of relationships, this can be helpful because it's about being open and allowing the other person in our relationships, our intimate relationships, to be who they are, to appreciate people for who they are, to respect people for who they are, to have understanding, to have empathy as to who this person is and where they are at that given time of their journey. It's an Odu that suggests us meeting people where they are, exactly where they are. Not where we expect them to be or want them to be or maybe even need them to be. Recognizing where they actually are and not punishing them for their limitations. This again highlights the quality of a Omoluabi. It speaks about imperfections and limitations. It says that no human being is perfect. And since no other human being is perfect, that means we too are not perfect. We have imperfections as well. So being okay with the fact that nobody is perfect, not even ourselves. So this is the Odu in the relationship category. Ogundashe. Anything else to add?
Relationships will change over time, and sometimes we start to drift apart because we got different interests. And we have to recognize that and still love the other person just, as they are, just accept that they're going to have different things that are going to interest them. And that's just become part of them, and that kind of expands your, your view of them too, What else I wanted to say about this one? There's a verse that came out for this too. It says, it is better to leave the son of an honorable man unpunished. Meaning sometimes you need to, if you're not sure, before you accuse anybody of anything, you got to be very sure what you're saying, because you could be wrong and you can damage your relationship. So you have to, one of the things that it was caution you related to relationships. And, I noticed that relationships is coming up a lot in recent readings too. So, but one of the other things I wanted to say is that with Eguntan say is that sometimes the daily grind keeps us so busy that we forget that there's another person in our life that is meaningful to us, and we need to have some quality time with them. So it'd be good to do maybe just go and just spend, even if it's just a few minutes, go and, put your arm around the other person and say, how's your life? How was your day? And make it a point to maybe have like a date night or something like that. If you have a significant other, or if you have your friends, you hang out with your friends But the point is, you need to allocate quality times to nurture your relationships, and then you be fine. Awesome.
I love that. I mean, that flexibility to be understanding, to see through like what they're struggling with, and like you were saying, they're going through, most people you meet are going through something, so that understanding and like supporting underneath them, seeing how you could comfort them and make them feel worthy in what they're, seeing a lot of people struggling. So it's good for us to be able to ourselves not and take it on and say it's about you, but it's really something that you can understand them going through it, and to give some kind of creative support, the Ogun creativity, right? Well, that's what I have right now.
Yeah, this Odu is interesting. Tan mentioned about, like, you made the quote about being an honorable person or something. I forget what the quote was, but it was about honorable was the word that was used. But this Odu Ogunishe specifically speaks about that, the need to act in an honorable way, to be an honorable person at all times. This is what this Odu calls for. So that alone can help heal relationships. That alone helps relationships become better. If we ourselves are being more of an honorable person, the other person is being an honorable person. This allows relationships to work, to maintain, to be maintained, and even to evolve, to transform, and to allow us to be transformed by them. This Odu Ogunishe, when it talks about marching to the beat of one's own drum, allowing other people to march to the beat of their drum, not punishing people for their physical characteristics. This is not physical characteristics, doesn't just mean how they look physically. It's not just the physical body, but it's just how they show up, how they show up in life, essentially is what that refers to. But that Odu, Ogundeshe, communicates directly with the primary Odu Obari because that Odu speaks about a relationship becoming unbalanced by a demanding partner. Well, that demanding partner may be the person who expects the other to march to the beat of their drum. That demanding partner might be the one that is punishing the other person because of their physical characteristics. You see, so there's a communication there going between those two Odus. So of the Ogundeshe in the relationship category reinforces what's being said in the primary Odu. As I said before, this reading, although relationships is not the highest category, it has a strong emphasis on relationships in different ways. So that's Ogundeshe in the area of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
If we move to the family category, we have the Odu Osa Irete.
Mm-hmm.
And Osa Irete is an Odu that calls for change. It calls for transformation. But it's an Odu that speaks about how the only solution to one's current problems comes from the deities. It says that we should rely upon the deities to support us in connection to the challenges that we face. So very practically speaking, if we have challenges within the family dynamic, we can draw upon the support of the Orisha to help us with those challenges, to help us with those problems.
Right.
Integrating the qualities of the Orisha that's needed to help make progress in that area of life. Praying to the Orisha for support, to manifest their grace, to help us in the ways that are needed in the family context. This Odu Osai Rete also speaks about relationships specifically because it says that one is receiving no practical or moral support from one's mate. So this highlights maybe some challenges that we may face within the family dynamic, with anyone we may consider to be family, anyone that's close to us can fall into this category of family, where we don't feel like we're being supported, where we don't feel like we're given any real practical support or any moral support from that individual. So this very much highlights challenges that manifest in the family context. because maybe you are trying to transform, or maybe you're undergoing a process of transformation, a process of change in your life, but you don't feel supported by your family. You don't feel supported by your loved ones. They don't support what you do. They may not support what you practice. They may not support the decisions that you're making in life. Maybe you're venturing out of the nest a little bit. Maybe you're going against the family tradition, or you're going against the expectations that are present within the family. Maybe you are trying to march to the beat of your own drum, as opposed to marching to the beat and expectations of your family. And as a result, you're not receiving any practical or moral support. So with this Odu, on one end, encourages us to march to the beat of our own drum and to be willing to walk the path alone at times, because we might not always have the support that we want. We might not always have the support that we feel that we need, but we have to be willing to move in that direction, the direction that we need to go, you see. And even if we don't have the support of our family, the practical or moral support from our mate, we can rely upon the support of the Orisha. We can rely upon the support of the divinities. As this Odu says, that the only solution to our problem comes from the deities, you see. We should also pay attention to the challenges that those type of experiences bring about. How do we feel when we're not being supported by our family, when we're not having any practical or moral support from our mate, from our loved ones? How does that make us feel? Maybe there's some growth that can come in connection to those type of experiences. So we can use those experiences where we're not being supported by someone that we think should be supporting us. And instead of it becoming about them not supporting us, doing or not doing something, we can use the energy that's triggered from those experiences as an opportunity to transform, as an opportunity to elevate in the direction that we want to go.
Mhm.
You see, we're likely to be triggered by these type of experiences with that Odu in the family category. So we can expect it, we can anticipate these type of things. And instead of wrestling with those things, we just use it as an opportunity. We use it as a bridge towards becoming what the primary Odu Obari D says about independence. Maybe we need to break free of the dependency of our loved ones, the dependency of people supporting, cheering us on in a certain way. Maybe we need to learn to walk the path ourselves. Maybe we need to learn to break free and be more independent. See, so those experiences that may manifest in connection to our family, our loved ones, those in our inner circle, is an opportunity to realize what the primary Odu says about independence. Maybe that's why they're appearing. We can see those experiences instead of them being perceived as a problem. We can look at them as an opportunity to become more independent. So that's what I see with that Odu, Osairete.
Okay. Yeah. That's-
There's a verse that comes with this Odu that says, if the one who sleeps alone sleeps badly, only God can wake him up. It's kind of very, very deep. You have to kind of think about this one. But he talks about Oduwa Kyle was saying that, only the Orisha can help here. But this goes back to the main Odu of RID, where it tells you to be empowered, to be a leader, so you can be there for your family, for your friends. You can be there and say, look, I'm here for you. You have knowledge and you have wisdom, you have experience that you can share, but you got to let people know that you're there for them.
Mhm.
And then the family or your friends can turn to you, just keep it open, say, I'm here for you if you need my help, and I'll be happy to help. And then guide them in the way, use your own experience, your wisdom, share that with them. You can even say, suggest to get a reading. Maybe they're not inclined to get a reading, but they might listen to your advice.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then
Awesome.
even if we're not receiving the practical or moral support from our loved ones, we should always be willing and ready to give the practical and moral support
Yes.
to others, even if we're not receiving it. So that's part of the lesson with that, with when it says that as well.
Mhm.
We don't want to become the person that's not giving the practical or moral support. We want to be
Right.
supportive in any way that we can. As Fadruitan said, you know, as he put it. So
Yeah.
yes, I just
I
wanted to add that in there that came.
I don't really have any more. I mean, I would have said what you guys said, so it's really good that you covered it really deeply. I mean, that depth of going and trusting inside with your spiritual connection, that initiating into yourself.
Or do to have in the family. You think about it, because oftentimes we when we do something in life, when we achieve something in life, or when we start walking down our own path, we all oftentimes want to bring our family members along, or we want them to cheer us on. We want them to be there for us. We want to help them with the things that we're learning, and oftentimes are the most difficult people to help, the most difficult people to share our gifts with. You know, a lot of times the least receptive people. You know,
Yeah.
uh, so that's a lesson we oftentimes have to learn. The further we move in the direction of our purpose, is that you know it's unlikely for your family to seek you out for the guidance and the support, and you know just because you are their brother or their cousin or their son or whatever it may be. So,
What I'll say is don't give up when it doesn't happen right when you ask for it.
right.
I am just turned 70 and it's just starting to happen. And I'm in my 70th year. So I have not given up. I backed off a lot of different times, but when I could see it's a good time to move in a little bit more now with some of the teachings that I could give them. And now they're all embracing the food and the materials that I'm, aware of for gut health and eating microgreens now. I mean, I didn't imagine it last year even, and so everybody's, listening to spirituality and, doing things that are, going to bring that elevation to them, So it's finally happening. And I just want to share, don't give up if it's not happening right away. All right, so what do we have now? Victory.
We have the final subset,
Victory.
victory over
Yes.
difficulties. This
Thank
is
you.
the last subset, but this is the senior category. So this was the highest ranking category, victory over difficulties, with the Odu Ejiobe. So the highest Odu is showing up in the victory category, which means that we're likely to be victorious in battle. But yet it's victory over difficulties, which this suggests that we will encounter some form of difficulty, some type of challenge is likely to show up in our experience. But if we apply ourselves correctly, if we heed the advice, apply all the messages of the reading, we're likely to succeed, we're likely to triumph, we're likely to be victorious. So the Odu Ejiobe there, it says that it's an open road, it's all light, you see. But there's a lot of intensity with Ejiobe. So we have to be prepared for the intensity, be prepared for the challenges and in whatever way they manifest of in the emotional level, internally, even externally. But it's saying that the path is open, the slate is clean. It's a blank slate.
Yes.
Divine light, divine support. Obe is known as the supporter, which means that we can expect to be in our victory. It's likely to come through the support that we receive from someone else, the support that we receive from the Orisha. So the light of support will be there to help us in connection to the difficulties that we face. And we have to be open to the different forms of support that come, to the type of support that we actually have in our life in order to be victorious. But also, this could also deal with us needing to be the supporter in somebody else's experience. Maybe somebody else is going through difficulty. Maybe they are experiencing a challenge, something that they need to overcome and triumph over. And we might be that spark of light, the light of support in someone else's experience. We have to be open to that as well, because it could go both ways. That's what I see there with Ejiobe.
Beautiful. Well,
One of the things that really sticks with me with Agiobe is that quote about those who desire rain must also accept the mud, meaning that you're never going to find that perfection. You're always going to be disappointed if you're looking for perfection. You see, there is, you want rain, but yeah, you're going to get mud, and maybe you don't want mud, right? But that's so you know the whole thing about Agiobe is that you're lifting both hands to the heavens to receive both the good and the bad, right? It's about perspective, you know.
yes, perspective.
So yes, if you're gonna to get victory over difficulties, it's not going to be exactly the way you want it, but you know you can overcome challenges. It may not be the way you think it's going to happen. You know, so don't look for that perfect way. Don't that you have don't get your mind so focused that it needs to be this way.
Yeah,
You know,
they're wide open.
right? And the Agiobe has to do with Obatala. Obatala speaks through Agiobe. So that tells me also that uh, the challenges and the solution really have to be is more on the mental level, right? You're gonna have to figure this out as a logical problem, right? It's not a physical blockage. It's not something like standing in front of you that you can't get around it. This is more like a mental block. You're gonna have to figure it out, and you have to use your thinking. You have to use your intellect and think about, okay, what is logical here? How do I figure this out? And that takes takes patience, if you're going to do problem solving, you have to really take a step back, be patient, and think about it, and it will come to you. But if you get too excited, it's like it's not going to happen. You remember Obatala is the one that talks through this Odu. Obatala tells you to be patient and be calm and have a clear head,
Very good.
and then you'll be able to do it.
Yeah. I see, are you finished? No? Do you feel you said everything you want to say?
Yes.
Okay, good. The intensity of it, we don't want to just react and respond, in a way that maybe later you're going to be sorry about. So, this again tells me be ready. Do your regular sheddings, do your head cleansings, do your, getting rid of the weight of the world on you, regularly, like every Sunday, it's Obatala's day. Get your tools out that you use, the soaps, the herbs, whatever, the sprays, and have yourself ready for the following week of challenge, challenge, growth has challenge, and you're going to grow a lot this year and really expand. I mean, those intentions that you have had, like we said before. So, use the dynamicness of the Obey Meiji to really move it, clear it all out and get ready to do a lot of new things in your life this year. That's my space. I mean, I would have said a few things you said, but you already said it. Thank you. All right. So you want to go over the Orisha a little bit? They're involved or?
I had something to add about the Agiobe. As Agiobe deals with new beginnings, this could be being us needing to be prepared for a new range of challenges to appear.
Right.
Challenges, a new beginning in the area of challenges.
Right.
A new level of challenges that we need to be victorious over. So to be open, it's almost like the bar is being raised. It's almost like we're on a clean slate where we can expect new experiences, new challenges to come, or for challenges to appear in ways that they have not appeared before. You see. So be prepared in that way as well. At your good.
Beautiful.
Okay. So we have also now the so that covers all the Odus that dropped.
Yes.
the primary ray B, the 6 categories, and now we also have the Orisha that were indicated for the reading. And this is a very interesting combination of Orisha. There were 3 Orisha indicated for us to work with this year. So it's the combination of the 3, which is interesting, but it's not just the combination, the order in which they appeared. So there's a significance in the combination of energies that showed up, as well as the order of significance. You see, because it's a very logical order of the Odus, and these 3 energies work very well with one another. We had Obatala coming as the first Orisha, Shango as the second, and Ogun as the third. Now, let's look at the relationship between these 3, how these energies work together, or the roles that they play in the bigger picture. Obatala being the first energy, he's the one that sits at the head of the table. Obatala is the one that sits at the head of the table that's basically giving all the directions out, saying you're going to go here, you're going to go there, you're going to do this. So just think about going to war, going to battle, right? We got these 3 energies. Obatala is the one at the head of the table directing what everybody else is going to do, but Obatala is not going to be on the battlefield. Obatala is not going to get dirty. He's not going to get his hands dirty. He's not going to be in the fight himself. He's going to be the one dictating what's going to happen. Shango is like the general that's on the battlefield. He's in charge on the battlefield. Still not playing the most significant role in battle. Then you got Ogun. Ogun is the one that's really active on the battlefield. You see, the one that's really getting his hands dirty, really in the trenches. See? So you got, the one that's sitting at the table behind the scenes, you got the general, then you got the actual soldier. This is how these 3 energies function. Another way we can look at them to make it more practical, and this is valid towards anything that we want to achieve, this year in 2025. We can look at Obatala, the primary energy, as being the plan itself, the plan behind what we want to achieve this year. It's the plan, the overall plan. Well, if we have a plan, before we can do anything, we need to have a plan that we set out, something that we want to achieve. That's Obatala. That comes first. Second, in the direction of achieving that goal, whatever that goal may be, whatever that plan is we need to have the proper strategy. That's the second energy. That's Shango. Shango brings the best strategy that we can use to carry out the plan itself. So we have the plan, we have the strategy, the way that we're going to go about it. And then the third energy, Ogun, this is the energy that allows us to cause for us to do the work. So we got the plan, the strategy, and now what actually is going to be done, the actual work itself, doing the work. So that's how these 3 energies manifest this year. And that's how we can one of the ways that we can align ourselves with these 3 Orisha is to set what are our goals for the year. We have a certain goal that we want to achieve. Well, okay, let's write out a plan. What is the plan to achieve that goal? What is the strategy? How do we go about doing that? And then what are the actual details? What is the work that needs to be done? Ogun, Shango, and Obatala. We didn't divine what type of offerings should be given to each one, but we provided in the document, the PDF, a general list of offerings for each of the 3, Obatala, Shango, and Ogun. So
most of those are self-care.
Right.
Yeah.
So this can be done in any way. Whatever offerings you feel, if you are doing that, you are making offerings like this, whatever offerings you feel in connection to those Orisha that are on the list of offerings for each of those energies can be given. But I would say to make it more practical outside of just making offerings to the altar is to remember that those different qualities, the plan, strategy, and doing the work. This is how we align ourselves with these 3 energies on top of the ritual side of it, of doing offerings and things of that nature.
Very good. Excellent. Yeah, I like the perspective piece that Javier brought out too. Need to, keep that perspective, clear. Sometimes, it's hard to decipher the fantasy or, from the reality, sometimes it's hard to figure that out.
I think if you have one of those Orishas as your guardian, that's going to be very significant for you. You know, if you have a Batala, Shango, or Ogun as your main Orisha, as your guardian Orisha,
Mhm.
that's, keep that in mind that that's going to be a very significant year for you.
Okay. I love it. Well, I think it's very complete, right?
This is the layout.
Flows so beautifully tonight, guys. Thank you. Right, everybody? It's a beautiful way that we wove it together. And you can see how we each can see so many different things, right? From our experience.
This is the interpretation, but then let's see going forward how it actually manifests for each and every one of us. How does it actually show up? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember what Ia mentioned before about how always look at this type of reading or any other reading that we do in the group setting from the filter of your actual blueprint, from the filter of your actual path, your actual Odus, like your life path Odu, if you are initiated from the perspective of your Ita, because it doesn't replace that, it's happening underneath that umbrella. You see, so you'll find in those other readings that you've received, those bigger readings like life path,
Personals.
hand of Ifa, Orisha, or Ifa initiation Odus, those main Odus, which are like your natal charts, your blueprints, you'll find the details in those readings that help you understand this type of reading better.
Right.
So always look at it from that within that context.
Well, I feel so honored to be in company with everyone here. Aluo, Fajuitan, so beautiful to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you.
You bring such a beauty to it all. And just love you so much. Thank you for all you've just given of yourself to everybody here. And it's so many gifts. Thank you. And Kyle, I mean, every Wednesday he shows up, and now it's Thursday today, and just, enriches our lives with so much, and just giving it to us in such a clear way. It's so helpful. Such a blessing. I'm just very grateful. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ia. Thank you, Ia. And thank you, Ifajuitan, for the collaboration. I think it's really good when we come together for this type of reading, to kind of pull it all together.
Right.
Very
Yeah.
helpful.
Make a good team.
Indeed.
The perspective. I loved when we did the reading. It was really a great day too, So it's beautiful. Well, we're gonna get to see more of you, I hope, this year more. Now that you have a little more freedom.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Blessings to you.